Hello, Jack. Absolutely. Couldn't be faster than that. How are you, Jack? Hello, Ra. Good to see you here. What a sunny day it was, or it is here. I just had a nice walk on the ocean side. I think 6 kilometers, more, maybe 7.5, and it was very pleasant. Yes, Excalibur, you must have been sleeping on the job. Hope you guys had a nice, or having a nice Saturday. Oh, happy birthday, Jack. 23, 2 days ago. Wish you a wonderful year. Years with health and happiness. So, when you guys are ready, throw me a question. Kalani says hello. Hello, Kalani. Kalani, is that, am I mistaken? Is it the first time you're here, Kalani, or it sounds familiar, but I'm not sure if it was just recently or way before, or at all. So what was your wish, Excalibur? So today a female friend told you to make a wish, and you think she thought you would say to ask her to give you a kiss. I don't know if she did. You said, you told her that your wish is that she should share Mehran's channel. That's an appreciative wish. There is the loyal fan subscriber. Thank you. You blew out, you blew your wish, which perhaps you wished something else, but your sacrifice is well appreciated. Thank you, Excalibur. Jack says he's going to Japan in 4 weeks. Wow. You're going to go teach English or what? For fun? So you got to learn how to say what your name is. You can say, Watashi no namae wa Jack desu. Omani kakarete ureshi desu. This means my name is Jack. I'm very pleased to meet you. Something to break the ice. You will have a great time. Where in Japan are you going? Hello, Joanna. First time here, are you? Sounds like it. Yes, Excalibur, you sacrificed your chance, as he says. I sacrificed my chance of for your channel. Yes, it's highly appreciative. Al loves Japan. Hi, Mehran. Hello, Al. Is Al, if I remember, it's for Alexandra. Hi, Mehran. She says something is upsetting me. Very McCrystal. What is McCrystal? It's a new way of saying, describing what's something that upsets one. She says my boyfriend of almost a year has a female friend whom he once was attracted to. He told me that I have no reason to worry. Any advice? You can't force these things. Let's let the nature take its course. If he's not spending overly amount of time with her, you probably have friends that are not female. You may or may not have been attracted to them, but that's not the issue. I'm just saying, if there's no, trust him for now. There's no reason not to. Just because there's a female friend, you shouldn't be worried. Because I tell you a little story, perhaps that will help you. I think it's a cute story. I was in college, and one day we had words from the international body department for activities in school that they had invited a world champion billiard player, pool player. His name was Jack White. And as I remember, he came to the school and he had his own little case for the cue that it was his. So we went to this place where we had the pool table of the school there, and everybody gathered around, and he put his cue together and he started showing some trick shots, and then he says, who wants to play? And of course, one of our friends who was always thought he's best of everything, he said, me. So he challenged Mr. Jack White. And so Jack White led him to break. And so when he made a couple of shots and then his turn was over because he made him, the shot didn't go into the hole, and it was Jack White's turn. And while Jack White was doing his thing, he said one thing that I never forgot, and I'm going to share it with you. He said, I don't care how good you are, told that friend of ours who was playing against Jack White. He said, I don't care how good you are or any player that is playing, because I got the cue. That means it doesn't matter how good you are, as long as it's not your turn. I have the turn, I have the cue. I don't care how good you play, because you'll never get the chance to play. And it was really meaningful. That describes lots of worries that some people have. While they have the cue in their hands and it's their turn to play, nobody else can actually come in, but they're still worried about the person who's not having the turn to play or is not having the opportunity to play. Same thing with you. You have a relationship with your boyfriend. He is your boyfriend and you are his girlfriend. The relationship is between you two. And that means you have the cue. You have the situation under control. You are the one in the field. You are the playing a member of the team or whatever it is that you're engaged with. So what are you worried about this other girl? So one time he was or was not interested in, but she doesn't have the cue. She doesn't have the situation. She doesn't have the relationship. She's not the girlfriend. You are the one. You are the one in the field. So focus on that. You're the one in power, in the best position, as far as you're concerned. So, and then in the future, if something happens and you see something not as it should be, then you will just move on. Why do you think you should be afraid of moving on if things don't go well? Why would you want to be with someone who hasn't been cordial or honest to the relationship? If that happens, well, better to know it now, because there will always be somebody out there that could be, meeting his standards, or there are always other pretty girls around. So you can't just say only this one that he happens to be friend with. There are all others out there that could, friendship possibly could happen. And same thing with you. There's so many other guys that are out there. Should he be concerned about them? It's about how you decide to interact with those guys, and it's about how he would be caring enough about the relationship to interact with that girl and any other girl. So that is something that is expected in a relationship from the partner to be concerned about and to be caring enough not to create any cause for concern in the other partner's mind. So don't worry about it. If it was, then you'll deal with it then. Let the nature take its course. Madara says, love your Jack White story. Awesome. Yeah, okay, good. Had I said this story before, or is it the first time? I think I might have said it once before. Ooh, I lost lots of people who just joined. Ah, Joanna, second time. Jack, you're going for leisure. And Jack is going for Tokyo and Osaka. Ah, well, if you go to Osaka, then it's not too far from Kyoto. Kyoto, you will find shogun palaces and the cherry blossoms. And it's a perfect time for cherry blossoms. It's so beautiful there. I had the opportunity to go to Japan when I was in university with my girlfriend at the time, and she was Japanese, a tremendously beautiful Japanese girl. And so we went to, one of the places we went was Kyoto, and the shogun palaces were designed in such a way that as soon as you step onto the palace, around the rooms, there would be sound of 1,000 birds. It will squeak like 1,000 birds are singing. That was their mechanism for the samurais to know that there is an attack, there is a time of night, or there is a intruder, uninvited guest. It would alarm them there is somebody on the perimeter. So it was quite interesting. And of course I have this affinity toward the Japanese culture and so on because of my interest and my martial art background and interest in that whole philosophy of the samurai and so on. So it was, to me, it was magical to be so close to that whole historic stories and moments, like traveling in time. So I hope you will have a wonderful time. Ah, McCrystal means very much. Oh, okay. Okay, I got it now. It's a new word. I didn't even know that that name had a meaning of very much. Nadine, hey to all. Hello, Nadine. Excalibur. Mehran, do you believe the doctors who say depression is a chemical imbalance? To me, it sounds like a very nice way of selling you chemicals and making you a zombie dependent on medicine. Well, Excalibur, you know, I'm not a doctor, so I best not to discuss things that I'm not expert in, and I don't have that qualification. But I can tell you that there are different kinds of levels of depression, and some could be, and perhaps definitely are, chemical imbalance that the body is missing, whether it's lithium or something else, because I'm not expert in that knowledge. But there also could be some situations where it could be dealt with possibly in a different way. But I don't know. I'm not an expert, so I can't have an opinion to say yes or no. But I think that the levels that everybody gets depressed and has depression on daily basis for different things could be the level that doesn't need medication, and one has to find a way how to deal with it. And there are also levels that needs medication, and it's chemical imbalance and so on. But again, I'm not an expert in that, so I best not talk about things that I don't know. Alexander Al loves Japan says, we broke up once, and in that period he told her that he liked her in the past. I really don't find my peace of mind. She rejected him once. He wanted serious with her, but she did not. So, thanks a lot for your story and your words. You're welcome. At the time when people break up, everybody wants to tell somebody else that, oh, I love you, or I loved you, just to make them feel better as far as connecting with something that makes them feel affirmed, because they just missed something. They don't have that anymore, so they still want to feel, you know, loved or liked or whatever. So none of that is detrimental. Relationships come and go. They better come and stay, but not all of them stay. There are differences, as you know, between the consciousness and how two people are put together. Their orders could change. Their mechanical process could be something that they don't feel comfortable with. They don't like the change. They like the order change. They have different levels of insecurities or securities, needs. They're all looking for some affirmation. All that could play a part in the whole process of relationship working or not. So you can't force it. Be yourself. Do your best. If it works, great. If it didn't, well, it didn't. It's not the end of the world. And it's not a reason to think that something has been diminished from you because that person left you or it's not working. I know it sounds very important to you at that age, but it really is not, because you've had, even at this age, you've had experiences before that you thought it's all that, but it didn't work out and you moved on, and then you found something else that you actually thought is better. So on the same experience, same logic, this will pass to in case if it didn't work out. This or anything else. So, stay cool. Tony Rodriguez. Is it a good thing to be materialistic? I don't know, is it? Is there an end to being materialistic? Like if you have this one, that one, this one, this thing, that thing, it'll be then good enough? There's no end to material stuff that you may want to have. There's always something more you can have. So do you think that would be a good thing or bad? You make the decision on that one. Analyze it for yourself, see what it means, and then see if that suits with your personality and that's what you're looking for or not. Wesley, hello Mehran. He says, hello Wesley. I just want to say thank you again for your advice last time on letting go of my almost relationship. I feel so much better now. Thanks you. You're welcome. Greetings from Germany. Yeah. Bitte schön. You'll be fine. Alias says it's been 4 months since the breakup. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your time. Yeah, it says tour time. That's your time, I think. You're welcome. Excalibur, do you think a relationship can last a lifetime? Yeah, of course. Why not? I think it can, but not every relationship. But in general, relationship can last a lifetime. Especially in the olden times, there were more of a hoopla about finding a partner, staying with it, and following and complying with the tribal rules and community rules and expectations and all the traditions and customs and the religious rules. All these were forcing it to, or supporting it to stay together. Nowadays, that pretty much very little of that sort of thing exists. It's more difficult because there is not much of a repercussion or discouragement of breaking up a marriage or relationship, as everybody seems to buy into that thinking of, it's my life, I live once, I want this, I want that, and I don't care how good or bad I am, I'm not going to find the answers in myself. I think if there's something wrong with my life, it's because of my partner. So if I change that, go to another, then things will be. But in fact, it's the same cycle. It's all new. They get to know each other, they court, excitement, new things, trying to prove themselves to that person, get that person's affirmation, to feel good about themselves, that they convince somebody on their side to like them, and they go through it, then they get serious, and maybe they get married, and then they lose all that seemed exciting because everything was based on physical intimacy and physical interest and all the materials that they could or could not have, and all these things were the generating energy for that relationship to keep going. And when it becomes all just as no longer a novelty, then they try to find, why is it? It's a wrong choice, so I should change it to somebody else. And that somebody else seems the same cycle. Oh yeah, it's exciting because they haven't gone through that same experience with this previous one, with that one, and they think that one, because it feels so good, must be the right choice. So they go through the same steps and they go through that, then they feel, yeah, it's not good anymore, so maybe I should find. So the encouragement to stay is very little. They just try to find another and another in case. It's like if it's a shot in the dark, I keep throwing it until one of them hits a target, and there is no target. They're throwing darts and there is no target, because every one of those darts could have hit the target, but depending on how they saw to take care of this relationship is what determines if they have hit the target or not. So the olden times, they had more chance to make it to be a lifetime. At least they would try. It was not so in thing to jump from one branch to another. I'm not saying it's good or bad, I'm just discussing it as the topic is here. But this is what obvious, you all see it. Grandparents never got divorced, pretty much, very seldom. Parents got divorced, some of them, still not as many. My time, lots of divorce. Your time, probably more. So expect that the relationships could go sideways in every case. May or may not. Not necessarily all, but there's a chance for all of them. Why? Not just because of the stuff that we just talked about, also because the consciousness of each person is different. The way they've been put together is different. What they're interested in, what they've been conditioned in, what their interest and their order in life is, the mechanical process is, all the conditionings that they've received through their religions and customs and tribes and things they read and what they've been exposed in and so on and so forth, it's all different. So the division and conflicts is a natural thing between two consciousness that they have been put together differently. So obviously they're going to be different. And unless they're committed to create a new order together, a collective order, a compatible order, a new order, and work these things out and try to endure each other's differences, compromise and work on it, and understand that this is because of differences of consciousness, not because they just really don't want or don't like or they are disrespectful to each other. If they understand all this, then maybe they could help to get over these differences and understand that these differences are not the reason to get divorced or separate. It's just the differences that is there between two people almost at all times. And they got to deal with it if they want to make it to last longer. And Excalibur says, do you think okay, we just discussed that. Timothy McWallerson, hello Mehran, hello dear. Excalibur says, so societal pressure and religious along with tradition made the relationship bulletproof. Not bulletproof, but it was an additional pressure to keep it together, even though sometimes it was not a good idea, but it did. Elias says, hi Mehran, hello dear. How do I forget the idolized image of my ex that my mind built so flawlessly? She was my first love. I neglected her and I can't find other woman attractive. Thanks. Oh, you will. This I can't find other woman attractive is just as baseless as saying that tree has no roots. or I can't find any other breath of oxygen anywhere. It's abundance, and almost all women are attractive to someone's taste, and you can't just have one kind of woman that you're attracted to. You will be attracted to so many others. It's just that this one is so fresh in your mind, and you've created this image of her as to be perfect because it's the first love. You've never had experience of intimacy or being in love and feeling all that. It's all novel, and when it's first, it's tastiest thing to your mind because you don't have anything to compare, and you think anything can ever be comparable to it, but it will be. It's even going to be better, you know. It's like cooking. The first time you cook some kind of a dish that you got the recipe and it turns out okay, you say, wow, I'm such a good, this is the best, it's great. And then it's like saying, oh, I can never make it better. Of course you can. You're just learning. The same thing here. Maybe not exact best example, but you can get the, you know, if you get the hang of it, that if it tastes like this but it didn't work out, the next time you will find something, it'll taste the same, but you will also do things that it will work out better, and you get better and better and better, but you will always find somebody attractive. So don't worry about that. It's not the end of the world. We've all gone through it, and so will you. So big deal. Timothy says, my girlfriend started blowing our dates off to go out with this guy. Oops. That she claims is her friend. It's been going on for a while. After I showed her that it was bothering me, she said she needed a break. And you should have said, yeah, no, you don't need a break. You need a breakup, and here it is. Bye-bye. That's what you do. And now she wants to break up because she says she doesn't care about me anymore. Well, you should have said that earlier. I guess I read into it. I let her go, but she still calls me. I respected her decision and told her how I felt. I don't understand. What should I do? Nothing. Move on. Find another girlfriend if you find one that meets your standards, and tell her, please don't call me. That's the end of it. Make the decision for her. She's stringing you along because she doesn't know if that thing is going to work or not. And you need to show her that you're not there every time that she needs to talk to you in order to get that affirmation that I still got something to fall back on, so I can still spend my time with this and see where it goes. No, just say, please don't call me. We've had our chances. It didn't work out. You preferred something else, and I respect that, and you should respect my life, because I'm trying to qualify some other girls to see if they are they meet my expectations. So I don't want to be confused by you. So just go and enjoy your life. That's what you wanted, and that's what I agreed to. So bye-bye. That's the end of that. Yeah, Excalibur, I didn't. So, you're welcome, Timothy. Look, if you don't respect yourself, nobody else will. So, if you keep trying to be a nice guy, I'm there for you and all that, that's not really what's going to work. Actually, sometimes some girls want somebody who's not there for them all the time. So they feel like they got to do something to make him to be there for them. But if you're always there without them asking, so what's the challenge for them? Most women want some kind of a challenge. They want to fix you, they want to get you to be available, and all these. And I'm not saying you play the game. No, not at all. But make it very clear. You want to be with me. These are the criteria, what my expectations are. And what are your expectations? And then we'll see if we are on the same page or not. Then you'll go on. A wishy-washy, just because you get intimacy from her, it makes you feel good, so you're willing to put up with anything. That means you've got no discipline of any kind in that relationship. It won't work. You can't be so titanic and tough, and you can't be like a pussycat and just have no backbone. You know, of course, pussycat does have a backbone, but you know what I mean. You gotta have, both of you, girls and boys, both gotta have respect for themselves and show their expectations, discuss it, and then be on the same page for that relationship. Otherwise, it's just a wishy-washy thing, and here and now and there the other day. It's not going to go anywhere. Now, Kalani says, Mehran, you're the man. And so wise, by the way. I'm from Hawaii. Aloha, mahalo. I love Hawaii. It's my second home. You helped me so much through my breakup, he says. I'm so glad, delighted. Kalani, make the channel to be known in Hawaii. Make my books to be known in Hawaii. Make the site to be known by Hawaii. Share it on your social media and your friends. Hawaii is one magical place for me. I love Hawaii. I've been there many times. Maui is my place lately. Timothy says, I watch all your videos, man. You actually made me respect myself more and more. Good. I'm glad. I appreciate your work so much, to be honest. I'm glad you do, Timothy. Don't forget, guys, especially the ones who have benefited from this channel and like the content, please do share the videos you like, whether it's about relationship breakups or about thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, and ego, in the playlist Psyche. That has nothing to do with relationship, but that is the core of what I'm trying to share on your social media, and let people know about it, talk about it, keep placing it, post it. So the sharing will help us grow, and I need to grow because I know you've told me thousands of times how wonderful the contents are and how life-changing effects it's been having on many people. We have reached over 1.3 million people in the past 5 years, which is a drop in the ocean compared to the channels who have hundreds of thousands of subscribers and millions of viewers, even though you tell me that their contents are just nonsense and don't really help. But somehow they got the viewers, and we need to show ourselves and introduce ourselves that we are here. We can support them, and there are contents of substance here. Excalibur says, Mehran, damn it, I see girls who I used to avoid because I wasn't very interested now, and all of them become smoking hot after a few years. What kind of wizardry is this? How can I stop they regret. You can't. There are always going to be women, girls that you meet and you don't go for, whether you're shy or you think you'll find better or you're too stuck up, and later on your whole idea of what you're looking for changes, and you feel all those girls that you missed the chance to pursue or to get to know are now so attractive to you in one way or another. Well, that happens. It's part of life. But remember, just as then you neglected your chances on those girls that now you like, there are ones that right now is the first time you meet. Don't neglect those chances, and then maybe you want to see if they would also like you to have a relationship with you, or just to be friends. Caged Rage says, hi, I'm from Brisbane, Australia. Okay, Australia. This is now, what time is it? This is 12. Oh, 5. That's 5 o'clock. That's 10 o'clock in the morning there. Oh yeah, that's why you're up. It's not middle of the night for you. I learned a lot from you, Cage says, and I love your humor. Okay. Nice approach is giving advice. Okay, thank you, Cage. I'm delighted that you're enjoying the channel, and you know how you left yourself open with that remark and that comment. As nice as it was, it means what? It means now you have a responsibility to promote the channel on your social media. Anybody who likes the channel, somehow help out and help us to grow by sharing the videos on your channel, on your Facebook page, or wherever it is that you can. Alia says, hey, it's me again, okay? I love your knowledge. How do I negotiate with my tyrannical superego, which is always so critical towards me? How do I develop a healthy inner dialogue? Thanks, from Italy. Buonasera. Come stai? So, remember guys, the deal was what? Where are you tuning in from? I know, Italy. How old you are, and if you're male or female. I cannot always tell from the picture. Pictures are very small. I cannot tell from the names, because names are usually spooky or some kind of a stand for something. So please do help me to know what my demographics are and how old you are. Did I say that? Where you tuning from, how old you are, and if you're male or female. Now, how do I develop a healthy inner dialogue? First of all, do you understand what you are having a dialogue with? And throw me your name. I want to pronounce your name. Okay. 20-year-old male. Okay. In your question, you talk about superego, you talk about, let's just call it ego. Do you know what ego is? That you're so afraid of it, or you think you can't handle it, that you have to abide by its rules or expectation, as if it's something that is beyond your control, as it's the mind of his own. Well, many of you think that what, ego is part of a human being, that when you're born it comes with you, like the heart, liver, kidney, and then there's an ego somewhere. I think ego is a program that you're conditioned to have it as you grow. Otherwise, you don't have an ego if you're not interacting with the other around you when you're born. If you're in a jungle and there are no expectations to deal or negotiate with other humans, or to have similar wavelength, mental wavelength and frequency and understanding or communication, I don't think ego would develop. But so ego is some program that has been instilled in you through your growing. which means it's something that you should understand. It's not part of you. It's come onto you. And of course, we can discuss that deeper as far as its role in being in the me in you, how you are, who you are, how you're put together. But all that is because of the conditionings you've received in your consciousness through your childhood and upbringing, because of the books you read, the traditions and religions and dogmas and customs and everything else that you come to be to interact with and exposed to. All those conditionings, your center, your consciousness, the you, the me that was created, then the ego was created because of the consciousness was created in the way it was and was conditioned. So first, don't be afraid of your ego. Ego is something that you can change it, command it. Ego is coming with through the images you have made out of yourself, and you prefer those images, find them necessary in order to follow the conditionings you have received to be more. And that ego plays a part in creating those images that makes you feel more. Some of them make you feel more, some of them you use the image in order to give a housing for your brain, for your thoughts to be there. That's where it finds security. The thought finds security, mind finds security in the images you created, because it gives you a certain kind of a persona, the image you have of yourself, and you jump from image to image in order to feel secure from every scenario of daily life that you're negotiating with. Whether you're in a store as a shopper, you have an image of a shopper. You're somewhere else at work, you have an image of a clerk or a professional. You're a student, you're at school, you have an image of student. You're teaching class, you have an image of a teacher. You're with your mom or dad, you have an image of a son or daughter. You're with your children, you have an image of a parents, father or mother. All these images are how you go from one place to another place in your mind and physically in life, mind and body coordinated. And these images help you to negotiate life through stages of life. So having understood this, then you talk about healthy dialogue. Now, what is a dialogue with? What is this dialogue with? How is this? What are you having dialogue with? You're having a dialogue. You're constantly judging yourself. You have a higher self. You have created something you call higher yourself, because it's overseeing what you do, what you think, what you want to do. It analyzes this. It judges for you. No, you didn't do this good. Or you did. Who's that is telling you all these things? Who is the one who's watching over your thoughts? That's a dialogue. You're having a dialogue. You're constantly judging yourself, judging what you do, judging what you think, and you're not aware that you're actually, your brain, your mind is not aware that you're judging your thinking. You actually think it's an entity separate than your thinking. But in fact, it is all thought. Why? Because we know that if you go back to the whole beginning of it, we can see or imagine how it was for the caveman who came out of the cave and slipped on a rock or slippery stage or grass and fell and hurt his knee. From that action of falling, it learned something. It learned that putting his hand or his foot like that on that rock is not stable, it falls. And that action gave him an experience. From that experience, he got a knowledge. And that knowledge was recorded in his consciousness, in his memory. Then few other things happened. That with the same way, an action, an experience, a knowledge from that experience, and then it was recorded in his memory. Beside the instinct that he had for doing what he was doing, the stuff that he had based on those instincts and the fact that he was trying to survive, his memory got more and more stuff in it. And then from that knowledge that was all recorded in his memory, thoughts would come up based on what he had accumulated in his memory. A thought would come up from that knowledge, that consciousness that was created because an action, experience, knowledge, and memory was created, recorded in the memory. That was the field of the known, the stuff that he knew, the field that he had experienced and it was known to him. And from that field of the known, which was consciousness, thought would be born. And from that new thought that was born based on the knowledge he had in the consciousness, in the memory, a new action would come. And from that new action, new experience. And from that new experience, new knowledge. And that knowledge again would be added to the other knowledge that he had accumulated in his memory. And that's how the consciousness constantly was built. And that consciousness is what's overseeing your thought, judging your thought, talking to you. You have a dialogue with your thoughts based on the knowledge you have on your consciousness, based on those values and the stuff that you have, the content of your consciousness. But the funny thing is that there is no consciousness, because the consciousness, the way we described it right now, is created by the thought. Yet that is watching your thought. Really, there is nothing but thought, because the thought is born from the content of the consciousness, and then action and experience and knowledge, and then adds to the content of the consciousness again. So you think that the thought is coming from the consciousness, but isn't the consciousness itself is made and put together because of the thought? So it's all thought. Consciousness is redundant. So what you're having a dialogue with, you think it's a higher you, but it's created by what it is that you are trying to judge it. That is the whole thing. The watcher, which is a consciousness, watched, which is a thought, watcher, the observer, the consciousness, because that's where the thought is coming from, supposedly, is watching, is observing the thought, the observed. But the observed, which is the watched, which is the controlled, is what has made the controller, the watcher, the observer. The ingredients of what has created the observer, the watcher, the controller, the consciousness, is all coming from the thought. So it's not that the watcher is watching the thought. The thought itself has created the watcher. So the controller is the controlled. And the controlled is the controller. It's one and the same thing. Yet we're having a dialogue with ourselves. A thought having a dialogue with thought. And we are not aware of it. If you think of it, then you understand that your consciousness is the past. Your thought is supposed to take itself out of the consciousness in order to actually be present with the now, with the moments, with the life itself, rather than living based on what's in your memory, because your thoughts based on the consciousness being in the past, then your living really is death of the past. And that's what we should try to be aware of it. So stop talking to yourself and focus on what really is, rather than trying to judge your thoughts based on what it was, which denies you from being in contact with what it is and everything as it is. Instead, you're perceiving them based on what similar thing happened in the past in your memory, and you don't get a chance to actually interact with what it is really happening now on its own, fresh, without any knowledge of similar thing happened in the past, same as what it is today. Have I lost you guys? Got a little bored? I hope not. So, Excalibur says, that's very, very good point, Mehran. If you were a hot girl with this same channel, same content, same everything, you would have at least 50 million subscribers. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not about to find out. Elias says, 20 years old male. Okay. So Al or Alexandra loves Japan. He says, I'm from Romania and I'm 21 female. Okay, good, thank you. Alessandro. Okay. Oh yeah, that sounds Italian to me, Alessandro. Very nice name. Cage Rage says, how do I quiet my mind? Just tell him shush. Or tell it shush. All right. Your answer, how do I quiet my mind? Let me read the rest and I'll answer. It creates anxiety and it's difficult to shake off. It results in failure and disappointments, which I clearly did to myself. I'm female, 44 years old, thank you. Good. Well, Cage, the answer to your question is in my book called Me, My Psyche and I. It discusses anxiety, fear, what is fear, where does it come from? And it talks about how to help still the mind, the movements of mind. And the reason that you see, we're thinking, we are a thinker, we think all the time. And we record all the time, 24/7. And that's where the mind is always active, trying to analyze things, find problems and solve them and protect us. And that's his job, to look for trouble. It's always active. And the other things that happens to your life, and you're constantly trying to go into to the past, into the memory, find that scenario, whatever it was, and try to solve it or to fix it. If you hadn't handled it the way you like to, you're in there trying to modify it, and you end up staying there for too long and active. And in order to stop all these, you need to take your thought out of the consciousness. As long as the thought is in the consciousness, all your thoughts are based on perception of something that is happening now, because you're using the knowledge in your consciousness, which was based on experiences that your thought created in the past, and it was recorded in the consciousness. So you're really not having the chance to interact with the now, with the fresh things. You're always perceiving what is happening using what happened before and the experiences that you have and recorded in your memory. But when you take the thought out of the consciousness, that's when thought stops. Because look, in order to stop chattering of your mind, in order to stop the activity of your mind, you got to stop time. If there's no movement of time, there is no movement in your mind. And time is thought, because the time is created by thought. Let me explain. If something that you're thinking about the past, yesterday or a week ago, so you got to go in the memory to find that, and you get to that file, to that experience, and let's say it was some kind of a pain. You had, I don't know, something you ate, and you had a pain in your tummy or your knee or whatever it was, some sporting, and then you say, I had pain a week ago, or I had pain yesterday. I don't have pain now. So you just create a time. Yesterday in your memory, you remember how it was, the feeling you had. And now that you don't have the pain, so you're thinking, what will it be tomorrow? Now you create a time. Then, when you had pain, now that you don't have pain, and when you may or may not have in the future, what is that? So you created this time by thought. By your thought going to the memory, picking up a experience, and trying to compare it by what it is, how you feel about it now, and how you would feel, how it would be later on, you've created time by thought. So thought is time. Time is thought. Now, when you take thought out of the consciousness, then there's no time created. So when you stop time is when you take thought out of the consciousness. And for that, you can go to my Me, My Psyche, and I, which is explained in detail that how you can create this, not being in your consciousness, not having the thoughts constantly roaming around the consciousness, by taking thoughts out of the consciousness, which stops time and also stops the activity of mind. Of course, activity of mind never stops in the way that absolute, because that is like heartbeat. It only stops when we die, which of course at the time then the thought kind of goes back to the collective consciousness of the universe. That is the whole purpose of life, that we experience things and we're helping with this knowledge to add to the knowledge and wisdom of the universe as a whole. That's why we're here. We're helping the whole universe to grow and become a better catalyst for us and the energy that is flowing through it. Now, that's another story and another discussion, but that is basically how you can do what you're trying to do. But then in the book explains the role of meditation in that, and how you can create this stillness of the mind to bring the ripples of the mind to infinitely imperceptible ripples, which then creates that calmness, which of course the benefits of that also is clarity of mind. So the surface, like the surface of the pond, would be clear and everything would reflect on it much more perfectly than it used to, when it's got lots of thoughts going and activities and like lots of waves and oscillation in it, which creates distortion in whatever it is that you want to discover or you want to understand or better with more clarity and so on. So there's lots of good thing about this stopping of movement of mind in such a way that is constantly going, and meditation could have a big part in that, which again, the meditation itself elaborately and completely is explained in Me, My Psyche, and I highly recommend that book. There's so many different kinds. There's, I think, about maybe, I don't know, 60 or 65 chapters in it, short chapters, but the book is about 360 pages. But and it's expensive. It's paper version, but you can buy it on ebook, and ebook version you can go on my site mindthatseekstruth.com and choose that book, click on the book, and opens up, and you can see table of contents, and you can click on the pages, and you can have a sample chapter read, and also a video beside the book tells you what the book is all about. And then you can choose the paper version, which is the expensive version, and shipping is included, but the ebook version is the version that I've put in there so everybody can afford it, because it's like, I don't know, $5.99 or something. Same book, only doesn't have paper. So purposely I've made it cheap for everybody to have it. So go and get it, guys. There's a lot more in there than I can explain here. I hope that was something for you to ponder, Cage. Okay. Excalibur says, Mehran, do you have any tips for when you can't sleep because of the mind chatter that won't stop? Yes. Learn meditation, that is explained in my book. I think you have the book. And look at the chapter, which it's not near me, but I should have brought it. It's over there. I can't reach it. I don't know if it's chapter 40 or something, I'm not sure, but it's there, and you will learn how to meditate. And I am still hoping that one day I will, if I have enough proper setup, to do a meditation with you guys and teach you how to meditate and get that part of your life which enhances all your abilities, whether it is something you want to study and learn, focusing abilities, or your sporting activities, or your tolerance, or your connection with the nature and energy flow. There's some wonderful stuff about the meditations that I have learned in university, in martial art classes that I took, which was heavy emphasis on meditation and understanding the relationship between mind and the body, and the relationship between our energy and the universal energy, which was very elaborate in its discussions. And I pride myself with knowing something about it. And Excalibur says, my last question for today is, how can I love without giving my power. You're not giving your power to that girl. You're giving your power to your desire. Your desire is taking away your power. And because to fulfill your desire to fluff your ego, you're complying to everything that she wants, or your desire makes you to comply with things that later on, once it's a little bit later in the relationship, you wouldn't want to do. It's all about that pursuit of psychological security through intimacy, which that explains why you think you lose your power, because that's such an important thing to men and women, especially men who are willing to, you know, jump up and down and bend backward just to get it, because that's the feeling. That's when they feel whole and accomplished and perfect, because there's no question of accomplishment, responsibility, fears in that moment. That's the total, that's the purest form of psychological security that everybody seems to think that's where the problem stops. But that's only a momentary, and after that all the responsibilities and everything else is the same. So you got to understand that you shouldn't lose your power because of your desires, following in pursuit of your desires, as fulfilling that is only momentary pleasure. That's it. Nothing else really is there. But for that momentary pleasure, people do all kinds of things, which includes some people try to get that moment of pleasure of not being aware of their own existence and feeling that they have everything that they need, the illusory psychological security, through drugs and alcohol and things that will take them out of this world, and then they think then none of those challenges or responsibilities or opportunities exist anymore. No, which is fooling themselves, really. So that's why you should not lose your power because of desire or anything else. And power means balance, really, not necessarily in any other form. Like a balance between loving someone and at the same time not thinking it's the end of the world if it fails. That is my own. Okay, I guess I explained that. Problem, relationship, everything else is fine. Okay, that's it. That's what I just mentioned. You got to get to know yourself and how you're put together, and look at this whole relationship with the proper light rather than it's end all be all. And it's end all be all because what I just explained, that moment of psychological security where you actually don't think you need to do anything else in this life that you're facing with to accomplish and, you know, become somebody and learn or work and make money and responsibilities, this and that, so forth. At that moment, you don't think you need to do anything. So you take a shortcut instead of going accomplishing those things and yourself in life. You just want to get that feeling by intimacy or by, you know, some shit stuff like drugs and all that, so forth, which you should be smarter than that, all of you. And don't fall into that trap. Cage says, thanks, Mehran. I'll buy your book and I try to absorb as much as I can. Okay, good, Cage. Good, good. Oh yeah, I just see that you spelled my name and then recorrected. Thank you. David says, hello from Texas, 22, late again. Yes, David, what's going on? Absentee, you know, you got to go to the office and see the principal. And Nasro says, good evening, my dear. This is Nasro. Hello, Nasro, from New Jersey. Just want to say that to you that thank you so much. You're wonderful. Okay, you're welcome. David says, shame on me, haha. Yes, that's right. You now, next time, have to bring sandwich for everybody. Virtual sandwich is cheap. Okay, guys, it looks like that we have had a good run today as well. We have complied with all the questions. We answered all the questions and we had a good conversation. So it's time for me. Excalibur says, thank you, Mehran. I love your answers. You're welcome, dear. And Chad says, why do I put so much importance to having a relationship? I just answered that, Chad. Just a question that Excalibur had, and when I re-upload it, which I'll do it right away, and you can watch it and listen to it. and we can discuss it further again next time. So at this time, I want to thank you all for being here and sharing this time with me. I appreciate your care and your kindness. I love you all, and be good to yourself and to the others, and take good care of yourself and the others, and I'll talk to you soon, and bye for now.